This week on World Stories. Uganda. Children fight deforestation. Germany. Hamburg's stunning new concert hall. But we turn first to the US. For many Americans, the phrase President-elect Donald Trump is taking some getting used to, and they doubt the country's deep divisions will be healed anytime soon.
Red Emma's is bustling with activity. This lunchtime crowd includes students, artists and social activists, for example from the Black Lives Matter movement. Exactly the target demographic for Hillary Clinton voters, right?
I'm not a big fan of Hillary Clinton. I did not have high hopes for her in terms of really moving a progressive, radically left agenda at all. I think that she would have pandered to corporate interests instead of the interest of working class folk, which...
Ken Brown is one of the shop's owners. He voted for Jill Stein, the candidate representing the Green Party. In comparison to previous elections, Clinton wasn't able to win over as many African-American voters as President Obama did. Some of them voted for Trump.
A lot of people, falsely, I think, believe that Trump would be the more populist person, that Trump would have working class interests in hand. I don't think that's true, but many people believe that, including some people of color.
Baltimore is a city in Maryland. Maryland is a rich state, but it's a tough time for the African-American population. On average, incomes are half of what they are for white people, and 24% of the population lives in poverty. There is a lack of jobs that do not require a college degree. Therein lies the tension between black and white. In 2015, the city made headlines due to the death of Freddie Gray. He was 25 when he was arrested and died while in police custody. Protests followed for weeks to come. Clinton did win Maryland's electoral votes. However, the support from African Americans seems to be wavering.
One thing was a lot of people voted independent. A lot of people voted for Bernie. And when Bernie didn't make it, they kind of fell out and just felt like their voices weren't being heard.
It just wasn't important, seemed like to me. Like it is, like it was for the first black. That was very important for everybody because that was like real history. Hillary would have been real history also, but it was just more important for Obama, for us.
Clinton was not able to inspire African Americans the way Barack Obama did. The results of this presidential election has shuffled the deck. Things once taken for granted are no longer. African American does not automatically mean Democrat.
To France and the Channel port of Calais. The refugee and migrant camp there, known as the Jungle, may be gone. Its occupants rehoused in centres across France, but for many, the dream of reaching Britain remains strong.
Comment t'appelles-tu? Je m'appelle.
Learning French is the new priority. Babacar wanted to go to Britain, but the route via Calais is closed. For now, his friend Fofana helps him with the language. I wouldn't even mind anymore if I get asylum in France. But if that doesn't happen, then I'll move on again. Fofana and Babacar are among the almost 6,000 migrants removed from the jungle camp in Calais last week. There they lived in tents. Now they have these converted shipping containers. In Calais they pretty much asked us where we wanted to go, and I decided on Bordeaux. This is 1,000 times better than Calais. Fofana's and Babacar's new home away from the jungle is a small suburb of Bordeaux in southern France. Many Frenchmen are growing increasingly opposed to hosting the migrants in their backyard. But not so here in Talence. Now they have war. Many years ago we had war. People are fleeing and we can help them. If people need protection, then I support it. We just need to see how we can integrate them into French society. If everyone does their bit, then I'm happy to welcome them here in Talence. But the shelter next to the old manor house in Talence is only temporary. In 4 weeks, the decision will be made whether the young men receive asylum or not. Until then, the local authorities will provide them with medical treatment. The trauma is starting to surface now, and not only because of what they lived through in Calais, but their entire escape and what they have seen in their home countries. Fofana has already applied for asylum in France. Babacar wants to wait. His dream, despite the demolition of the camp in Calais, remains Britain. They took my fingerprints, so I will have to stay here for now. But maybe in 6 months or so I will try again to go to England. Container camps like this one are for now France's answer to the refugee crisis. Fofana, Babacar and the other migrants from Calais will likely move again soon, from here to another container somewhere in France.
To East Africa now and Uganda. Huge areas of dense forest have been cleared over the decades, often with disastrous consequences for both locals and the environment. Now an NGO is trying to change this by teaching children to plant trees.
The Go Green Festival in the Ugandan capital Kampala may look like a typical children's event, but its theme is conservation and sustainability. The festival, organised by the Little Hands Go Green NGO, aims to get young people enthusiastic about environmental protection. Programme Director Sam Semakula also visits schools to plant trees with children. It's part of efforts to fight deforestation in Uganda.
The hope is to have green orchards within the school, of not less than 100 trees in each school. 2, to have green orchards at each and every homes of the little ones. For example, in Uganda, over 2 million children in Uganda. If each child plants a tree, you don't need a forest. You don't need, as Ugandans Go Green, to go and buy land and get a big and start planting thousands of trees. It's just one child per tree. It will make big difference.
New trees are desperately needed in Uganda, where more than 200,000 hectares of forest are cleared each year. Like here, where what was once densely forested land was recently cleared to make way for a lucrative sugarcane plantation. Since 1990, the country has lost nearly 2/3 of its forests. At this rate, all forested land in Uganda will vanish in less than 20 years. The reason for this is tied to extremely high population growth. That drives the need to expand the area devoted to agriculture and creates more demand for firewood. Wood and charcoal are the biggest energy sources in Uganda. A single family needs upwards of 150 kilos for cooking alone every month. This high demand has serious consequences for Uganda. Deforestation has affected the climate. Farmers are dealing with drastic fluctuations in rainfall, either too much or too little, and that's had devastating results. The government is trying to address the problem by launching reforestation programs using fast-growing trees. Eucalyptus, for instance, grows large enough to be cut down for lumber in just 10 years. At least 200,000 hectares of such plantations would be necessary to satisfy the demand for wood. The Little Hands Go Green organisation is doing its part. Besides planting trees, it organises environmental groups and conferences for children.
When you go to the children, a children's mind is like cement. Once you mark on it, that label that you marked, you never go. So it's better you start with the young ones. You inculcate that culture within them that, you know what, need to protect your environment. That means you have a guaranteed future for them.
Their programs are a success. The organisation has reached over 160,000 children and has planted more than 110,000 trees.
Our last report takes us to Germany and the waterfront in Hamburg, the site of the city's brand new concert hall. The building is an exuberant mix of old and new, but lengthy delays and large cost overruns have led many to criticise the project.
Getting the whole thing in picture is a bit of a challenge. The Elbphilharmonie, or the Philharmonic Hall in Hamburg, is 110 metres high. It took a bit of courage to build it, but it's great.
Kind of the sea in the top, it seems like really hard to do and a really good, nice architecture there.
The idea is to feel connected to water. The lower half of the building used to be a dock warehouse, something quite unique. But it took much longer to construct than was originally planned.
I just heard that it was supposed to be open like 3 years ago.
It really is strange that something like this has been built here for so much money. Those funds could have been used somewhere else. The prestige project was 10 times more expensive than budgeted. These Hamburg taxpayers are trying to stay positive, despite the massive costs.
We just got tickets for the grand opening. We're hoping to be impressed by the concert hall and the supposedly fantastic acoustics.
It's not about money anymore, right?
No, it's pretty reasonable. 74 million euros turns into 780 million. It is a bit odd.
Pretty much everyone in Hamburg is a little bit worked up about it. Some of the local tour guides have taken to peppering their tourist trips with cutting commentary. The toilet paper holders in this building cost 300 euros each. I mean, what makes them so special? Do they have Wi-Fi or something? For me, the worst thing is that it's supposed to be our new city landmark. As a Hamburg by myself, I say, we've got one already. On the right, there you can see it. At 132 meters tall, our lovely St. Michael's Church, or as we locals call it, Michael. But who knows? Maybe he will change his mind when the Elbphilharmonie finally opens its doors to the public.